You know, Molly, have you ever gotten stuck, like in your life, in your career? Have you ever kind of got to a place where it's like, oh no, what do I do now? What do you do to get unstuck?
Yeah. Wow. Sure, a lot. I mean, and I've seen it even with the guys that I represented.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I have, and I think, that's when I ask myself, what's at risk to make a change? And am I willing to take that risk? Right? So maybe if it's a relationship, I say, what's at risk to make a change? And am I willing to take that risk? And if I continue down this path and don't change, what will that really look like?
Yeah, what's the results of that, huh?
Yeah, so sometimes I think we've got to be introspective. We've got to be curious. We've got to say, what's at risk to really make a change? I had a client once that was pretty exhausting, took a lot of energy, and I started to ask myself that question. And I said, what's at risk to make a change, right? And one of the things that my coaches say sometimes to their athletes is, you better be better than your problems. And what they're saying, they're saying, dude,
what
you
a
better
good slice. What a good slice of life right there.
Right. They're saying you better be so darn good that you're sort of worth the problems, the challenges that you give me.
Yeah.
For an athlete. So I've had so many moments like that, and I say, what's at risk to make a change, and am I willing to make that risk and take that risk? And what about you? What about you?
Well, you brought up something, difficult clients. I also have to personalize that and think I might be pretty difficult sometimes too.
Sure.
But are you, is it worth it for people to, if you come in and kind of like the bull in the china shop, you're telling somebody the truth who doesn't want to hear it, But I've had some difficult clients and difficult situations around the clients. Really, it's not always them as much as it is the managers or,
the people
companies,
around them.
their entourage.
Yeah.
And really being able to kind of cut through some of that. But me personally being stuck, I think it is true that you have to know that you can rise above it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, is it worth it? And the change has to be inevitable, because if you stay there, I think the definition of insanity
is
is
doing the same thing over and
over
the same
again,
result,
and thinking that it's going to change, and it doesn't. So making those changes can sometimes be so hard. I know in my own life, some of the changes I had to face and go through, the issues for me brought the greatest rewards. And being on the other side of that really encourages me to know that I can do that. Okay.
Yeah.
I know in my own life, some of the hardest changes I've had to make also reaped the greatest rewards. So getting unstuck sometimes means digging down deep and really getting in the manure and getting it out.
Yeah,
like rooting it out. I mean, rooting it out so that you know that
sure.
you don't have to go back through that again.
And I think when you're stuck, you've got to get curious. So when you're not in a good spot, you've got to ask yourself why and what's going on and what's at risk to make a change. But when I'd see athletes that would get stuck, I would put a video together sometimes of great moments, like great, if it was a pitcher, of just unbelievable pitches. If it was a golfer, it would be just great swings, great moments, and say, watch this, right? And so I think we all need that. We need that in business and life, where we have things that we look at, that we read, that we listen to, that sort of boots us.
Well, and I think the mirror to me is one of the best things that we have, that's a reflection of who we really are, and looking at myself and kind of going, okay, what do I need to do here?
Yeah.
What do I need to do here? And my father was a great and wise man, and told me a simple thing. He said, plan your work and work your plan. And anytime I get stuck, it's like, okay, what's my plan?
Yeah.
And how do I work this to be able to get past that? I think Winston Churchill also said, if you're going through hell, keep going.
Yeah.
So you definitely don't want to stop in it, because if you do, you're dead in the water. So keeping it moving is one of the ways that I would tell people, this is how you get unstuck. You don't stop there. You can be reflective in it, but man, you got to keep it moving.
The other thing I think is important is you've got to know why. Because when we go through tough moments, when we go over speed bumps in life, right, when we're going through hell, we have to know why we have to keep going. Because otherwise it's tough to keep going, because it's not fun and it doesn't feel good and it's hard.
I think
So we got to know why,
I agree.
right?
I think you might want to know why it's important to keep going, but we might not always know the why of why something's happening.
Sure.
Sometimes the reasons, we may go out of this world and not know until later. I'm just saying, you can't always beg the question that, why is this happening to me? It's like, because it is.
Yeah.
Because life happens that way. But I do think knowing why it's important to continue.
Why it's important. That's a nice distinction.
Yeah, it allows
that's a really
you
nice
to move forward. Allows you to move forward.
I like that. I think that's good. I mean, I think about so many people probably that are watching. You know, maybe it's a young girl that's in school and, you know, something's going on with her world, right? Maybe it's a person trying to change jobs. Maybe it's somebody that's dealing with a physical injury, you know. And so when we're in those moments, I think we have to recognize that the other side of it is going to be good stuff. If we can stay in it and keep pushing.
There's the rewards.
Yeah.
There's the rewards. And I do believe that we reap what we sow. And if you continue to work towards a goal or you continue to work your way out of something, you're going to reap the rewards for that. Because that's just a natural law.
Well, and think about the byproduct, right? There were so many moments, I played tennis in college where I had tough times, but I kept going out to that ball machine or hitting serves or putting in the extra work. And the byproduct was tennis changed my life, right? In wonderful ways. I'm sure there's moments when you were singing before you became Mama Jan, that you had stuck. You got stuck, but it gave you the clarity to, you know, go, you know what, my calling is really to help other people shine.
Well, just look at it. Look at what you just said. You played tennis. Yeah. You yourself are an athlete. And that was part of your dream, your goal. Yeah. And you became one of the greatest caretakers of the greatest athletes who do those things, right? Yeah. So for me, being an artist, and you could say, okay, we got stuck. There's a part of that where, you know, I didn't necessarily think that I was going to wake up one day and own a studio and be Mama Jan. Yeah. You didn't necessarily think you were going to be, you know, Molly Fletcher, you know, the go-to girl and manager for, you know, great athletes. So I think that it is about that change and understanding that there is no such thing as staying still. Right. If you do, that's stagnation. Sure. That is stagnation.
It's death.
It actually is. Yeah. So we can look behind us or we're moving forward, but there's no such thing as being like right here. Yeah. We can be in the moment, but the moment is constantly moving forward.
Yeah. So that's a nice distinction. I like that. Good stuff. Very wise. Very wise.
Wise.